I'm Richard from Global Distribution. I'm here for ESV TV to talk to you about Atomos and their product lineup. So Atomos have been around for around 5 years now, and they've been shipping product in that time and are one of the fastest growing companies in pro video today. Their philosophy behind products, which are all engineered from scratch, there's no kind of Lego engineering within it. They run their own operating system called Atomos within their product family. And their devices are designed to save you time and money on a production while improving the quality of the actual material that you're creating as a filmmaker. So they're most well renowned for their monitor and recorder range. So I'll run you through that from the start. So we have their Ninja series on the starting point. So this begins with the Ninja Star product. So this is a portable, lightweight, only weighs 140 grams, ProRes recorder. So it's HDMI enabled, takes a feed in from a camera output, so we're coming directly from the camera sensor into the device and recording in a visually lossless edit-ready codec, such as ProRes. We record to CFast media. CFast 1 doesn't need to be expensive CFast 2, and Atomos have their own brand of media available. 4 easy buttons to use: record, go into playback. We have an HDMI output, so when I'm recording, I can loop out to a monitor, or I can output this to a monitor after record for playback and review of material. We have some other simple buttons for changing things like codec settings and obviously control within our playback, instigating things like a pull down. So all of our products can do a pull down for HD. So if I've got something coming in as a 50i interlaced, gone through a telescene process, I can reverse that, pull it down, and take the original 25p. Particularly relevant for a lot of HD cameras, things like 5D Mark IIIs, C100s, etc. will all output, say, a 25p as 50i or 24p or 30p as a 60i signal. So you obviously don't want to record that, you want the original progressive. We can pull that all down in the recorder. So this is our kind of starting point. Very good for adding ProRes recording to cameras maybe that aren't broadcast compliant, things like a C100, very, very good example of this. I can add this on and then I've just got that high quality broadcast compliant recording. Or I can use this on lightweight rigs, things like small compact DSLR for very lightweight run and gun kind of filmmaking. Or if I'm sticking this on a drone, using it with a GoPro or kind of action camera environment, that 140 gram lightweight nature makes it very, very easy. Battery time, 5 hours of recording. We use Sony MPF style batteries on all of our products. And you can also detap it or dummy battery adapter to another device. So we move on to the Ninja 2, which is our oldest product. This was actually shipping in 2012. So this has been shipping for well over 4 years now. And it's still one of our best-selling products. It's a real workhorse. It's a 4.3-inch display, which runs a 800 by 480 resolution screen. It's resistive touch, so it works particularly well if you're in remote locations and you've got gloves on and you don't have that instant compatibility with capacitive touch without using some sort of stylus. It's very, very easy to use. We have 4 buttons on the main page. I can go into a monitor. We wouldn't use this for accurate monitoring, things like color accuracy, accurate focus peaking, although we have tools in here like focus peaking, zebras, false color and blue only. It's really what we call a reference monitor. It's not necessarily color calibrated, and the actual resolution of the screen doesn't allow you to really make those critical focus decisions. Atomos products use 2 power points, and I'll come to this more when I talk about Power Station and how this provides a patented continuous power system. We record on here differently, and this is the same that now runs through all of the Atomos products other than Ninja Star. We record to removable 2.5-inch form factor drive, so either spinning hard disk drive, which is fine for HD and kind of non-mission critical high vibration environments, or we can record to solid state drives. So if you want that mission critical, rugged, no moving parts reliability, or if you're using 4K on some of our other products, as I'll come to, you have to use an SSD. So we support both those media types, and we have a non-proprietary approach to recording media. We do not make our own. We qualify industry standard partners like Angel Bird, who make drives specifically for the sort of audio-visual capture market, or people like SanDisk and some of the other major manufacturers. Spinning hard disk drives, people like HDST make obviously very, very good spinning hard disk drives for recording. So that is the Ninja 2, and that will record HD up to 30p or up to 60i kind of frame rates. We then move on to the Blade series. So we have two models. The Ninja Blade here, which is a HDMI in and out, again records the same 2.5-inch form factor media. Like with the Ninja 2, we can actually take video in on the HDMI, 2 channels of audio on the HDMI. We have an analog line level input if you're coming in from a sound mixer or an external audio recorder. We can pull in headphone output. We also provide you LANC on the Ninja Blade series, the same as the Samurai Blade. So if you are using an external LANC controller, you want to sort of serial up multiple recorders, you can then time sync these all together in terms of start-stop trigger. Again, 2 batteries running our continuous power system. The main difference really with the Blades is this is where we introduce a much better screen. So this is now a color calibrated to the Rec. 709 standard monitor. It's a 1280 by 720 resolution. So it gives us a very high pixel density, around 325 pixels per inch on the screen. And on here, we therefore can use focus peaking for accurately ascertaining whether something is in focus or not. We scan in multiple directions for that. We can monochrome the image, so you're only seeing the color of the focus peaking. We can also go to an outline only mode for that. We also then have your zebras, false color, blue only, and we add waveform monitor onto this product as well. So with waveforms, we give you a luma, which can be a quarter, third, or full screen for ascertaining your luminance. We also give you an RGB parade for your 3 colors, again, quarter, third, and full screen, and we give you a vector scope as a quarter or full screen, and we give you a zoom function on that vector scope as well. And there's also another video on here on ESV TV, to check it out, about a new software feature that's just been released for the Blade series, which adds HDR capability to it. So we can actually determine or sort of decipher the log image from a log-based camera and show you how that looks in an HDR space. So you can expose for the future HDR grading capabilities for delivery, which is obviously pretty exciting times ahead. The Samurai Blade is exactly the same as the Ninja Blade. We're just exchanging the HDMI for SDI in and out, so we still have this. Everything else is the same in terms of the looping batteries, 2.5-inch media, LANC, unbalanced line level input, output, etc. So this is really just geared up to cameras which are SDI based rather than HDMI based. We then have the Flame series. So again, there's another video just introducing you to the new Flame series, which is an evolution of the original and highly successful Shogun and Ninja Assassin products. So this is where we move to a 7.1-inch form factor screen. We run a full HD resolution, so it's a 1920 by 1200 resolution, which gives us the uncropped image on here. And this is therefore giving me the same pixel density pretty much as the 5-inch products. So although they don't run a full HD, they're a 1280 by 720, comparatively it's the same kind of detail, the same sharpness. And again, like with the Blade series, the Flame series are color calibrated out the factory to the Rec. 709 standard. So you know when you're looking at the monitor, the screen on your camera, or another monitor, or you're looking at this is a monitor that you can trust. We also, by using IPS technology for the actual screen panel in-plane switching, that gives us very, very good color accuracy, and it doesn't give us that kind of constant degradation that you can get with, or you get with OLED panels, where over time the LEDs will kind of die and colors will drift and you cannot rectify it. What we can do is we can actually recalibrate these screens using either Atomos' Spider device, which has been around for a little while, which is based on Datacolor's Spider 4, and also we now have compatibility with X-Rite as well. So we have a simple free piece of software. You just need to buy a USB to serial cable from Atomos, and that will enable you on the fly, using either of those calibrator technologies, to actually recalibrate this to the Rec. 709 standard again at any point, so you know that you're always color accurate. So for people where color accuracy and getting things right on the shot is critical, and certainly will save you a lot of time and money in post, we are enabling you to do that in a few minutes on set, just with a laptop or computer device and one of those calibrators. So the main difference with the Flame series then as well is the 4K capability. So as well as supporting HD frame rates, we now support higher HD frame rates up to 120 frames per second for the Ninja Flame models for HD, or up to 30 frames a second progressive for 4K. We also have time-lapse functionality built into here. As you can see here, I have a time-lapse clip where we support things like smooth transitions, motion blurring, multiple sequence types, so we can always tell you exactly how long it's going to take you to record this time-lapse, what the actual resulting video play time will be, etc. So we have some very nice time-lapse features in here, again to remove wear and tear on shutters within sort of DSLR cameras and things like that, and give you a lot of functionality that cameras don't have internally and would normally require post-production. We're also giving you on here things like pre-roll record. So we have a rolling buffer for HD or 4K, giving you between 8, 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds worth of footage. So again, giving you pre-roll on cameras that probably don't, or if your camera does it, but you're recording externally for quality and workflow improvements, you still want to have that pre-roll capability if you're shooting live action stuff or wildlife or live events. You don't want to have to keep rolling, for example. On here we then give you all the same monitoring tools, so things like the focus peaking zebras, everything that we had on the blades, and the waveforms, but we also have the ability to do focus zooms on here. So if this is a 4K image and I'm an HD screen, I'm not one-to-one, so I can actually do a one-to-one pixel zoom, I can pan and scan around the image, or I can do a 2-to-1 zoom on there as well. So I have the ability very, very easily to punch in on my recorder monitor here to really judge that focus point or review parts of the image very, very easily. We also have improved audio recording on the Flame series. So the Ninja Flame here can take up to 8 channels of audio from the HDMI. So if you're coming out, say, from a Vision mixer or a camera that does have multiple channels of audio, it's very rare that an HDMI camera will have more than 4, but some do. So we can pull those through. We also have an analog input here on the side, which is improved on what is in the blade. So as well as taking a line level input, this will also take a mic level input. So if I have a self-powered microphone, I can set this to mic level and then plug that microphone straight into here. Particularly good again for DSLR and mirrorless camera users trying to keep their rig as compact as possible, because then all of my embedded audio, all of my time code, everything, all of my video is in a single file. So that is the Ninja Flame, and we have again continuous power on the back of that as well. And then we have the Shogun Flame, which is essentially based on the Ninja Flame, so it shares the same industrial design, etc., all the features that we had on there. The main difference is I actually have the ability to have SDI in and out as well, so it's not solely HDMI, and unlike the Blade series where I had to make a purchasing decision between do I have HDMI, do I have SDI, the Shogun Flame has both. So we have HDMI in and out on the side, and on the rear we have SDI in, SDI out, and a Genlock LTC socket as well, so we have that external synchronization from there as well. Main benefits of this, it gives me more capability with use with multitude of cameras. I could use it with an Alpha 7S like I am here, I could use it with a Panasonic GH4, I could then use it with a DSLR all over HDMI, but then if I'm doing a job with say an FS7 with an extension pack, an Ariel Alexa Mini or something, I have that capability to plug that other camera straight in. I also have built-in conversion, so if I'm using it with an HDMI camera like a GH4, but then I want to say output to a producer director monitor that's maybe 10 or 20 meters away, I can then use a simple SDI connection to do that longer cable run. I can also do a down convert on the two Flame products, so the Ninja Flame and the Shogun Flame. I can do a 4K to HD down convert, so I can input 4K, monitor 4K, record 4K, but then output that as an HD signal to another monitor if I maybe, say for example, don't have a 4K monitor or TV on set to use as that. So we then have some other products as well, which are more geared up for location use or non-camera mounted applications. We have the older of that generation, which is something here called the Ronin. So the Ronin is available in two formats. You can have the Ronin like it is here, or we have what we call the Ronin Duo, which is two Ronins in a 3U rack kit. So these are half rack width, so I can have two of these in a single 3U space. It's got a nice carry handle on the top. This is similar to our Blade series where it's an HD generation product. So this will support up to 1080p 30 or 1080i 60 frame rates. Again, recording to ProRes or Avid's DNX codecs. The Flame series will support Avid DNX HR as well for the higher resolution Avid support as well as ProRes. We have on the Ronin a front mute switch for audio users. We can select whether we're listening to stereo, left or right, have a front mounted headphone output and front mounted drive slot. This is similar to the Ninja 2 screen technology. This is a 5-inch though, so it's slightly bigger, running a slightly higher, well, actually it's the same resolution, it's 800 by kind of 480, it's just slightly bigger. But again, it's resistive touch, so again, very useful for people that may have gloves on or something that's going to get in the way of a capacitive screen. In terms of the SDI, we have SDI in and out, full-size BNCs, as with the Shogun Flame. Whereas on the Shogun Flame, we have XLR coming in on a LEMO connector, so it's like a balanced audio connector, giving me mic or line, unbalanced or pro-balanced signals coming in, adjustable outputs from 15 to 24 dBu. Here, that's on full-size XLR's built into unit. I don't have to use a LEMO breakout cable for that. I also have built-in mains power. So the mains power coming in here is on a standard IEC cable. I also have some DC outputs and I have my LANC in and out. We also have two battery plates. When the power is connected, this will actually charge the batteries. If the power were to fail or I don't have any AC power, it will just run off the batteries with no disruption to any operation. That's a benefit of Atomos' continuous power technology, which I'll cover in more detail shortly. So the Ronin, very, very good for that kind of onset HD kind of workflows, etc. We then have the Shogun Studio, which is a purpose-built 3U form factor. This is essentially taking the Ronin into a 4K market where I have two recorders. So if I've got two different camera feeds and I just want to record those, I've got two completely discrete recorders. Or I can actually slave the two units together, and I can then either use them as continuous record, so one will be a primary recorder, and then when the drive fills up there, it will kind of slip over seamlessly to the second deck and continue recording, and it will continue to ping pong between the two recorders, so I can record 4K for as long as I have drives for as such. So particularly good for live events wanting to be captured in 4K, or I can have it in a dual record. So if I want to do a safety recording, I can again have a master unit and slave the other one, just record exactly the same thing on both channels. Or I can actually use it to do versioning. So I could have a 4K input coming into channel 1, I could loop that to channel 2, and I could record an HD version of that. Or I could say do ProRes on one and DNX or DNX HR on the other. I have that option to record two different formats of exactly the same recording. So it's a very flexible recorder, gives me all the same tools that I have in our 4K products, so all the waveforms and scopes, etc., and focus tools, framing, etc., all built into that unit. It's purpose-built AC power. It has two power supplies, so it's a load balancing, so if one power supply fails, it will keep running off the other one without any loss of operation again. And on the back, we have XLR connections for audio, we have SDI in per channel, we have HDMI in and out per channel as well. We also have individual in and out for Genlock and LTC per channel as well. We also have RS422 control on here as well, and we have amp control over Ethernet. So for use in OB trucks and studios, you have that remote control of the Shogun Studio as well. And that completes the Atomos recorder monitor product family lineup. We then move on to some slightly lesser known devices, but very, very popular with customers, which is our converter series called Connect. So we do 2 models and 2 versions. So the 2 models are the H2S, which is HDMI to SDI converter, or the S2H, which is the SDI to HDMI converter. We do a battery powered version of it, and we do an AC powered version of it. They're both very, very lightweight and compact. This is the smallest 3G SDI HDMI converter you can buy. The AC version is mains AC powered, so there's no DC adapters, power supplies, wall warts, etc. It's all built into the unit. So this will support a HD and SDI, so 1.5G and 3G signals. We have on the SDI model an in and a loop through. We reclock and equalize on input, so that loop output is reclocked and equalized, so particularly good if you're using it as a crude extender or you're looping out to other devices. You know you've got a very, very clean signal. We also lock to a signal incredibly quickly, so it's virtually instantaneous if there is a valid signal coming through. So particularly useful if you're on a set and you've using a converter and you have a problem with a signal go down. A lot of converters can take several seconds to resync, therefore you have a drop in picture in that time. With the Atomos connector, you'll virtually, as long as the signal comes back up and the signal is there, we'll reclock and equalize straight away and then continue to pass that signal through on a conversion. And then we have the battery powered version of the Connect, which again uses Sony MPF style batteries like all other Atomos products. The beauty of this is that the actual whole Connect is MPF designed as well. So I can use this with my Blade series products, for example. So say I have a Ninja Blade like this. I can piggyback the Connect onto here, and then I have a SDI input loop through and an HDMI output. So if I did buy a Ninja Blade and for the odd job I need to use an SDI camera, I can actually connect my Connect to the Atomos product, piggyback it on here, put the battery on, so I've still got a looping system, but then basically add a converter to the product. I could also stick this on the back of a light panel or any other MPF style device and use it. I could, if I had multiple converters on a job, say I need to do a series of conversions, 2 or 3, I can actually stack up to 6 Connects together and power them from a single source on the top. However, you'll notice if I take the battery off, the converter will still run. So this has an internal battery which will power the Connect for up to 1 hour. It will also charge when an external battery or power source is in play. So for example, here, one of these 2600 milliamp batteries will give me around 10 hours of use of the converter. It will also have charged the internal batteries. When this runs out, I know it's running on internal battery because obviously I would have seen the battery light deplete down and flash red and then obviously go back to a healthy status. I can then swap this battery over without any loss of my conversion process, etc. Also, if I have my converters stacked, the same applies because it will pass power through. As well as just being a converter though, both the battery and the Connect ACs also feature a test pattern generator. So say for example here with the SDI to HDMI version, I have an SDI out and I have an HDMI out. If I put this into test pattern mode, I will output a 1 kHz audio test tone on both channels, and I'll also be able to output a display test pattern. And we have a little cheat sheet card that comes with it. We have an LED sequence that essentially shows me a different status of LEDs. They correspond on the chart to a different video format and frame rate. So very, very easily I can test, is a display working, is the cabling good? I can, from the converter outwards, I can check all of my devices. So again, particularly good if you're using the battery versions or ones in an OB truck or studio. You've got an issue, drop it into test pattern, check the audio, check the video signals. You know where your issue is. There's obviously maybe a problem on my source because all my destination targets are working fine. So it's a very, very nice engineer's tool to have in your kit bag, and they're very, very inexpensive as well, and available on eastwoodsoundandvision.com, as are all Atomos products. So the final Atomos product to talk about is this, which is probably their lesser known product, which is called Power Station. And I've alluded it to talk about continuous power with all of our products. Continuous power essentially is where I have 2 battery power sources. I can see those here. I can select which one I'm using. But if I take an active power source off, either it unexpectedly fails or naturally depletes, the unit seamlessly switches over to the other battery without any loss of operation. It doesn't disrupt any recording, doesn't disrupt any playback or monitoring, etc. All of these tools don't get interrupted by that. So PowerStation breaks this technology out as a standalone product. So I again have two NPF style battery plates. I have a mains input or DC input, AC, we give you an AC DC converter with it. So I can power this from the mains. It will then act as a battery charger. It will then also provide me with the ability to power up to two devices from this. So it's particularly good with Atomos products. So if you want to add another safety power source to it, I can run a output from this into, say, a Flame unit. If the two batteries on there run out and I haven't swapped any of them yet, it will then flip over and start drawing power from the DC. And the Flame series have a battery or DC priority mode or a manual configuration, so I can always say where the priority of taking power comes from. The main benefit of PowerStation though, and you can see this here on the Alpha 7 rig I've got, the Sony series camera is notoriously bad on power lifespan. Here what I can do is I can actually power the A7S like I can also with Panasonic GH4 type cameras. I can do it with any Canon LP6 operating or Nikon EN EL15 or Sony MPF style. We give you dummy battery adapters that go into those cameras or those devices from the PowerStation. So it's like a dummy battery to DC cable, and that will allow me to run continuous power from these two devices onto the camera and something else. So very easily I can charge my batteries, I can have mains power failing over to battery or continuous battery operation to up to two devices. We also give you USB ports on the device, so if I need to charge a phone, I've got a little LED light panel that's USB, etc. That can all run off this magical little product. So for more information on PowerStation, check out atomos.com. Thank you very much for watching, and again, to check pricing and availability, look online at eastwoodsanovision.com.